course.
Only recently did Jake Paul reveal why he canceled the Mike Tyson fight. Until then, everyone had assumed there had been a strange accident that had left him with too many bruises and made it impossible for him to get up from bed, leave alone engaging in any physical activity. But wait a minute. Reports seem to suggest an entirely different scenario from what had happened if they are to be believed. Mike Tyson is definitely not fooled by Jake's fake injury excuse in the recent past. Many people have been unable to stand Jake Paul's antics and are overchecking him of late.
Oh, they're nervous for your brother.
Really?
Yeah.
In the recent weeks, Jake has given us some upsetting news that he will no longer fight against Mike Tyson. So he claimed that he was involved in an accident that is said to have broken his ribs and therefore could not appear for the match.
Yeah, you had to go on your little menopause break and postpone the fight, so yeah. What about that, dog? I was ready before. You needed a little break. Your tummy hurt? Your tummy hurt still?
I feel a lot better now.
All right, I'm not scared of shit, no. Not at all. Not at all. I was born for this. I was born for this moment. The universe told me this was gonna happen. You can ask Mike. I did ayahuasca, called him up and said, we're gonna fight on the biggest stage possible. It's destiny. And now here we are, years later, actually making it happen. I was made for this moment, born to do this, and I'm gonna put on the performance of a lifetime on November 15th, and the universe will align for all of its glory and good for God.
It's sad to imagine that according to where he is coming from, he will not be able to get into the swing of things of boxing without them again after all these years. Andy is using the word devastated, as if it is going out of fashion while expressing his grief over something over which he has no control, but he feels ashamed as a man simply because of the tears he has shed for this cause which allow him this liberty to express himself, otherwise he wouldn't be able. Does anyone here really believe this bullshit FAQ righteous?
Oh, Jake, you good?
Nurse!
Jake,
Nurse, more morphine!
Oh my God.
I broke my...
This I'm injured, I can't fight routine feels too well timed after watching Jake for more than 5 minutes. I mean, come on. Yes, it is true that broken ribs are most painful, but could Jake be more elaborate on it? No, he had to add more and evoke Mike Tyson's health struggles, directly citing Tyson's ulcer material, but which is how he responded about Tyson's health at the time.
Go on your little menopause break and postpone the fight, so yeah. What about that, dog? I was ready before. You needed a little break. Your tummy hurt?
Jake was almost trying to say, hey, Mike has had troubles with his health, so please understand. Maybe it's as if he expects people to sympathize with him in order to back him up. Though, the comparison becomes complicated when we consider that Mike Tyson has always been a competitor even with all his health issues. Do you, Jake, think this is right? I guess not. Furthermore, what makes it even worse is none other than Jake, who suggests that perhaps the fight should be postponed to let his delicate ribs heal. According to him, Jake is clear that his shoulder injury should not be taken any different from Tyson's history of health complications in case Mike received some break for it. What's wrong with me having the guts to do it? But simply put, something doesn't feel right here about the whole rib injury drama. It's a little too set up maybe, and the time is off. How he is selling it is suspicious, or rather queer, and to be honest, most people are not taking it in.
So guys, I'm in the hospital. I had an accident.
Obviously, considering the ongoing talk of his injury, it cannot be conclusively determined whether the popular YouTuber Jake Paul is truly withdrawing from the match scheduled to take place against the veteran boxer Mike Tyson, or he is simply deliberately finding ways on how to cancel it without looking scared in broad daylight. Take a look and it becomes even more absurd or pathetic that Jake is trying to equate himself to Tyson as though they are two fighters who suffered minor health problems. Well, Mike had ulcers, mine are cracked ribs. Are we not both fair enough? But hello, Jake. Tyson is Tyson, who has been through much physical and mental pain that you may not be able to take in. A lifetime. Ulcers did not make Mike a monster while he was in the ring, so why do you believe that your broke ribs injury deserves sympathy being thrown at them too? But really, is this what led to Jake quitting, or is he only looking for an easy way out from a huge, surpassingly terrifying fight? He's ready? I mean, look at the way Jake has been lately.
Yeah, you had to go on your little menopause break and postpone the fight, so yeah. What about that, dog? I was ready before. You needed a little break. Your tummy hurt? Your tummy hurt still?
I feel a lot better now.
All right, I'm not scared of shit, no. Not at all. Not at all. I was born for this. I was born for this moment. The universe told me this was going to happen. You can ask Mike. I did ayahuasca, called him up and said, we're going to fight on the biggest stage possible. It's destiny. And now here we are years later actually making it happen. I was made for this moment, born to do this, and I'm going to put on the performance of a lifetime on November 15th, and the universe will align for all of its glory and good for God.
He's been quite relaxed when it comes to his training camps, almost boastful at press conferences. Then, all of a sudden, he's sidelined by a rib problem nobody knows about. I don't understand this. Maybe there's an injury? Or perhaps Jake saw that going against Tyson in the ring wasn't such a great idea for him to maintain his dental formula? But he isn't giving any definite timelines as to his return. No plans, nothing but just vagueness. When Jake steps back into the ring someday, it will definitely trigger a series of events. Mike Tyson claimed on Logan Paul's podcast that this time he had an extra incentive for the world. Something no one could possibly anticipate. No, it wasn't a fluffy pep talk bemoaning never giving up on your dream. This throwdown was quite unexpected. This was on a recent episode, and I remember that very vividly.
It's unfortunately I have to fight and be that guy. I wish I could stop that guy. That guy haunts me. That's I wish I could stop that guy. I wish I could stop that guy. I wish that guy died, but he's here to stay.
Mike jumped right into the deep end and revealed something much darker. He literally said he's terrified of how violent he can be. Yes, Mike Tyson, the man known for his violent nature, where looking much scared of himself. Tyson spoke of fighting real demons that keep coming back, enters the ring now. And right when you think Tyson can't be any scarier, he goes ahead to make this insane statement. He presented an image of a self so violent, so unpredictable, that even he doesn't know what will occur when the signal bell rings. I mean, there was no way he could just tap into the zone like everyone else always does. And oh, this was one who had encountered his own primal rage firsthand and knows its full capacity. It is so chilling because when Tyson says he fears himself, it's not an ordinary thing. It's clear he really means it. This guy has been knocking people out for money, so now he was just speculating about how dangerous he could become. Let's add on to that.
Tough guy Mike Tyson comes out when it's not necessary to come out. I'm always in handcuffs. So I'm very careful when that guy comes out.
You break out in handcuffs.
Yeah.
The fact that Jake Paul was actually present at an event, and you could see him the way he is in this situation, it must be so bizarre for Jake Paul to be facing Mike Tyson across the table. As he says, he is not sure about what he is doing in the ring, he is just being entertained during a hyped-up match, only to receive a shock from Tyson. You just have to figure out what Jake was thinking at that moment, that one is about facing a difficult adversary, while the other involves the adversary admitting he fears what he might do to you. This is not something you correct by running a few more laps around the track. Jake spent months building himself up in preparation for such an event through his posts on Instagram earlier, acting like he was on top of the world. But the moment Mike Tyson hinted that he might not be able to withhold himself, that was a game changer for which no one could ever have gotten ready, since Mike was not just an ordinary man who would throw jibes around, but someone who would talk about his personal struggles calmly without necessarily insulting others. Meaning all of Jake's hard work suddenly seemed useless. Still, it becomes fascinating because one more thing: Tyson did not only come to Jake like Jake suspects, but he also came with a twist that makes it better. Jake did not achieve by TKO for many months. Months have passed. Jake Paul has been engaging in non-stop verbal assaults against Mike Tyson. And Jake did talk about Tyson without even considering the truth. But what if, actually, he experienced the truth? The plain truth is, maybe he suddenly realized that squaring up against the Mike Tyson human wrecking ball is beyond him. Lately, there has been an instance of self-praise of someone whose only claim to fame has been excessive discussions on Facebook or Twitter through various posts, as a way towards increasing personal popularity. Nonetheless, such pompousness eventually ebbs, ending up with stark realities, hence leaving a despised individual to live with a burden. This appears more than bad luck from his recent announcement concerning the injury in his ribs. Witness, perhaps, the great escape strategy he had been thinking of, as it was now apparent to him that there was no way out of the fight. Let us observe the weeks of practice that Jack SoCal engaged in before this particular fight as he trained in clubs.
Jake, are you not stepping room good?
Jake, autograph good.
Yo, Jake, are you not stepping room good? Jake.
And we should also not fail to remember that Tyson is a man of integrity. He is not here just to make money, but to demonstrate that Jake Paul has never been his equal in the boxing ring. If Jake Paul runs from the fight, then it will be an embarrassment before humanity, since his number of followers does not mean anything, or any of those other social media issues. But should he dare enter into the ring, then it will be dangerous, because for some time now this man has been training as if he would die once training ceases. Tyson is not interested in winning.
Time shot there from Jake Paul, and that is what you call a turning point, folks. Okay, a minute and a half left here in round 5, and Jake's looking for the finish. He's hurt.
He wants to completely destroy his opponent. He wants to expose Jake as a big mouth with no physical strength.